as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day.
Hello, Marbella. Amanda, our lovely Agony aunt, Amanda Silkinson, Amanda that everybody now I think knows and has come to love as much as I do, is going to join me today as opposed to doing her little solo spot, because I kind of like to have a catch up with you myself.
We do like to have a chat, don't we, Nicole? We do like to chat.
Chatting. And also, following on from Charmaine, our British consul, this week and also last week, touching on the subject of loneliness. Part of the United Nationalities of Marbella Summit is very much supporting the elderly because they find themselves alone, very, very vulnerable. But they're not the only ones who find themselves lonely and very vulnerable. And Amanda, many of you may not know, is actually specialised in grief counselling, all kinds of things that most people don't talk about, which is why it's lovely, Amanda, that you talk about it with such naturality, with such ease, because they're not easy subjects, the ones that you touch on.
I think some of the subjects I deal with, and I won't go into them in detail now with you because we want to keep this Marbella bright and sunny, and well, definitely sunny, but yes, I think these subjects need to be talked about. Abuse, loneliness, deprivation. I think we really need to bring these subjects out in the open and talk about them, because when they're kept in dark corners as secrets, they fester. It's like a wound. If it's left untreated, it festers and becomes poisonous. And those things in our life and our past can end up poisoning us from inside. And I honestly believe in being honest about my experience, because I think it makes me a better counsellor that I have gone through what I've gone through. At the time I may not have thought so, but you know, and I've been lonely, I've suffered domestic abuse and various issues, which, as I said, we won't go into in detail here, but I think it's really important that we do talk about this stuff and bring it out in the open. And sometimes you're talking about loneliness, and sometimes it's people's feelings of victimhood and lack of self-esteem that keep them locked in that loneliness.
It becomes almost like a phobia, a fear.
Yes,
that you then
indeed.
get to that stage, as it would seem, and so easily for so many, that you get to the stage where the habit, the programming becomes the norm, the familiarity of the devil, so to speak.
Exactly, the devil inside, and also that, again, the feelings of lack of self-esteem, and that you're not worth friendships, you're not worth, and shyness is often a product of something that's happened in someone's past. Nobody's born shy. As babies, we'll all play together, and you put babies on a mat and they'll, you know, to one degree or another, communicate with each other. But as we get older, and especially if we've suffered experiences that may be damaging or painful, we lose that and we turn in on ourselves. And okay, one outlet for that is social media, but that can be turned to a very negative way, and in fact preclude more loneliness and more isolation.
Well, Charmaine mentioned last week that 55,000 people took part in a survey regarding loneliness, and it was devastating to see that the highest percentage of lonely people were those that would go up to the 25, 28-year-olds, the ones who started with social media when they were, like my kids, 8, 9, 10, or the ones that have just been born into it, no difference. These likes, these hundreds of friends who've liked my picture, who like my page, but then you have no one who actually you feel knows you or likes you.
And also, I think the face you can present on social media, both physically and mentally as a person, can be totally not you. All the filtering, the beautiful photographs, the selfies that are made up for, etc., etc. So there's a physical aspect where people present themselves physically in a way that isn't real, which actually doesn't boost their self-esteem. And also the mental aspect where they're not really being themselves, they're role-playing almost.
All the time?
Yes, all the time.
Now it's all the time, because you're always on camera.
And people
when we do the show, you're on camera, then you have the moments you're not. But if you live your life on camera, when are you yourself?
Exactly. And
who are you?
Also, I mean, when we were children, and I'm older than you, I think, but we used to go out in the street and play with our friends and have physical interaction. And as teenagers, we did that. And I think social media can be a very positive tool. I'm not downing social media. I think used properly, things like Facebook and, you know, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat can be positive, but unfortunately they seem to be used in a negative way. And it's interesting that you said this huge amount of people under 28 that are lonely, this is the computer generation. And I do think when the web was invented and Mr. Gates or whoever and Mr. Jobs started out this huge project, it was in order to create communication between people, not isolation. And unfortunately, somehow it's been turned around and it's created a lot of isolation.
Well, I think it's the narcissism in all of us, but when you think the internet started off as a communication system for the army, in the sense it then took off, and then with the computers that we now have, as you say, thanks to these people, we have our gadgets with us 24/7.
Absolutely.
That we soon, I think, even our liberties are going to be basically subject to. If you've liked certain things and you apply for a visa somewhere, you'll suddenly find out, based on your likes, you ain't going.
Yep, exactly.
So I think it's actually worrying in more ways
than one, definitely.
Than one.
Yeah, I mean, certain countries, if you've liked certain groups that perhaps profess political views, and you might like a post, but that's there in the ether. And once you've written an email or written a Facebook post, it never goes away.
Free taxi 4 times a month and 25% discount on your car insurance if you're the Zero Hero.
Yeah, I'm here in Marbella, but it says here I'm in La Canada.
If you haven't mastered the lingo, don't worry. Linear Director has a free GPS geolocator service that will come and find you. Did you know this is something, when I was going to open up a Gmail account for the TV or something, very easy to open up these Gmail accounts.
Yeah.
For the first time, because I had other Gmail accounts, it came up a notification saying that you accept that everything you write, everything in the Gmail, whether it's sent or not sent, the fact that you have written it, so let's say that someone's thinking of resigning from their job, or they're not happy at work and they decide to have a little look around to see if they can get a job, or they've written something, suddenly they start receiving adverts based on what they wrote about. Now this is scary.
Big Brother really is watching us.
The Gmails are private, for example, but they're not. It's like you're writing, you're expressing yourself in the web. It's gone, it's out there.
I mean, I personally have encryption on my phone and on my computer, my laptop, but even so, that's nothing compared to, I mean, you know, in a way, this is a positive thing because there are dangerous terrorist groups, etc., that need to be monitored. But at the same time, it means Joe Bloggs, the man in the street, is being monitored too. And we've all said things that we wish we hadn't said. Now, that's great. You make a comment, you walk away, you can go back to the person and apologise, you can retract that comment. If it's written on a Facebook post or it's sent in an email, it's there, and it's there forever. And it's very easy to store huge amounts of communication and huge amounts of information about people, you know, on a central computer somewhere. So there's that aspect of it. But also,
and the vulnerability of the kids
that
that send a photograph on a WhatsApp of themselves in a post for boyfriend. They split up and who knows where that photograph's going.
I mean,
youngsters aren't thinking about this, and they're encouraged, in fact, nowadays to project this fake image. I mean, kids wearing false eyelashes, makeup, victims of this sell commercial world we live in.
I know. I mean, I've had teenage girls of 17 or 18 actually with me crying because they've lost 20 likes on their Instagram account. Now, I mean, this is, you're putting pictures of yourself, and it's such a false idea. And my advice is like, ignore the account, shut down, whatever. I mean, we can use it. Who are you trying
to impress in the first place?
Yes, yeah. And we can use it in a very positive way. I mean, again, lonely people, when I, as ambassador for Internations, I have got a lot of inquiries about I'm a young family and I want to meet other young families, and you can use that. You can set up your own groups, young mum with kids, but we have to be careful and we have to be aware that what you write isn't something you wouldn't say. Don't ever write anything you wouldn't say. Don't put personal information that you wouldn't want strangers to see, because strangers will see it. And also realise that, almost like you would give a child a set TV number of hours, which we used to have in our youth. We were allowed to watch TV for 2 hours an evening and that was it. And set yourself as an adult, and I'm talking to the 20-year-olds as well, because they are adults, they can vote, they can go to war, etc., etc. So really, they are adults. Being my age, I don't think you go up until you're in your 30s at least, but still be aware that what you're putting out there is watchable and viewable, and also limit yourself to how much you use the internet, how long you're on Facebook. Go out, meet real people, make real relationships. And as I said, it can be a tool in that we can use it.
Like Costa Women. I mean,
yes,
what a great
perfect.
way. It's on the internet.
Great example.
But at the same time, they do presential coffee mornings all the way along the coast. In fact, all the way around Spain now. Congratulations, Ali. But there is something like tomorrow morning. There is a coffee morning, I think, in Nelly G's for Costa Women. As I say, there are things that are excellent for the support in Spain.
Exactly.
.info from the British Consul, but also joined again with Age Concern Marbella, San Pedro.
United Nationalities Marbella, I have to say that, yeah.
And also from that one, we want to specifically go 14s to help the 13, 14 to 17-year-olds find their hangout areas in Marbella that are suitable for them. If you've got any ideas, do let us know. Amanda, it's lovely to actually have a chat.
A chat rather than, yes, me sort of, talking about
but
problems.
It's nice because everything is lovely, but Marbella now is behind the scenes, and we have a very large, varied resident community.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of large, varied needs that we
got
to talk about.
So start up a toddler and family group, but be careful. Look at, as you said, with Costa Women, brilliant organisation. They're using the internet in the way that I'm saying, a portal, a gateway. So you're on Costa Women's site, and then you go out and you meet real people.
It's a gateway, an entrance to options. It's not the be-all and end-all.
And we need to teach our teens this, and we need to teach our teens and early 20s that they can use the internet in this way as well. And we can encourage them to meet each other in person and make real relationships and see themselves as real people.
There you go, real people. That's what we need. Amanda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole, as always.
As always.
And goodbye, Marbella.
In our second United Nationalities of Marbella summit, my daughter actually came up with the idea of rewarding the designated driver. Having her worked in nightclubs in the summer when she was studying at university, she saw that really those people who are not drinking so they can drive those drunk louds home actually are suffering. They're paying maybe up to 15 euros for water in a nightclub. And when people are going out and they're dinner and they're whining and dining, and there's that one person who's sitting there behaving themselves. And she said, well, why not reward them? We commented this to our allies, the Linear Director and the Road Traffic Safety Foundation, and we came up with this Zero Hero project. Cara of the Boardwalk, as always, when I run by my brainhead schemes with her, said, yes, I'm in, give me posters immediately. I love the idea of free taxis for people who've been drinking for our clients, because obviously people want people to have wines and drink when they go to a restaurant, but they want you to come back, so they want you to be safe. Here at the Harbour, also straight on board with the incentive, as was Beckett's and the Playwrights, which are part of the Harbour group. We also have Que Padre Mexican restaurant in Marbella. The Kempinski Bayer Hotels joined in, the Hard Rock Cafe, to name but a few. This is a great incentive. We're giving these free disposable breathalyzers out, and what you do is, when you've been out for the evening, if you haven't drunk and you're at one of the recognised establishments who are playing the game, they will give you this disposable breathalyzer. And then when you finish the evening, just to show that you haven't not bought drinks, but you haven't been drinking a friend's drink, I dropped my nozzle, let me pick it up. Okay, I'm back. You will get one of these disposable breathalyzers. You have to empty out the little white polvos here, the little white things here, but then you put this in and you breathe into it. And if you have not been drinking, this is not legal requirement testing for driving, but it's for us to give an indication. You will see whether you're suitable to drive or not. And if you're not, and you're insured with Linear Director, well, they'll get you a taxi to take you home at no charge up to 4 times a month. That's once a weekend. Or if you are the designated drivers, when you've blown in this little bag, then you will not be paying for your soft drinks at, as I say, the restaurants, bars and clubs who are taking part in this fabulous incentive. Thank you so much for being our Zero Heroes.
Brand new